Welcome everyone. Today we will explore how our brain works when tackling challenging tasks and how we can leveraging this knowledge to crave doing hard things. The human brain is a site of complexity and its role in motivation and learning is no exception. From a neuroscience perspective, the processes that drive us to seek out challenges, persist through the difficulty, and ultimately learn and grow are the result of complex interaction between various brain regions, neurotransmitter system, and neuronal circuit. So understanding this mechanism can provide valuable insight into how we can effectively force our brain to crave doing hard things. To begin, let's start about the fundamental nature of motivation. At its core, motivation is the driving force behind all our action and behaviors. It is what gets us out of the bed in the morning, pushes us to pursue our goal, helps us persevere through difficulties. But motivation isn't a monolithic concept. It's a complex interplay of various neurological and psychological factors. Think about the time when you were incredibly motivated to achieve something. Maybe it was getting a grade in your exam, landing your dream job, or completing a challenging fitness goal. That surge of energy and determination you felt wasn't just a random occurrence. It was the result of specific processes happening in your brain. Till now, I think you got the idea about the motivation, right? So now that we understand what motivation is, so let's explore the key player in our brain motivation system, the neurotransmitters dopamine. Dopamine plays a steering role in this motivational drama. Often mischaracterized as pleasure chemical, dopamine is actually more about the anticipation and motivation than pleasure itself. It's the reason why the journey can sometimes be more exciting than the destination. Let's use this example to understand this. Imagine you are planning a trip to a place you have always wanted to visit. The excitement you feel in the weeks leading up the trip as you research attraction, book accommodation, and imagine all the experiences you have, that is dopamine at work. My friend, your brain is releasing dopamine in anticipation of the reward, that is a trip, motivating you to take all the necessary steps to make it happen. So this same mechanism applies to challenging tasks. When you set a difficult goal of yourself, like learning a new language, mastering in a complex skill, your brain releases dopamine as you reward of achievement. This dopamine release does not just happen when you reach your goal. It occurs throughout the process, especially when you make progress or overcome obstacles. So let's understand with this example. Think about learning to play a musical instrument. At first, it might seem daunting. Your fingers fumble over the string or keys, and the sound you produce are far from melodious. But as you practice, you start to see a small improvement. Maybe you finally nail that difficult chord transition or play a simple tune without mistakes. Each of these small victories triggers a dopamine release, reinforcing your motivation to keep practicing. This is where the concept of a small wins become crucial. By breaking down a large, challenging task into a smaller, more manageable steps, you create more opportunity to those opportunities. You create more opportunities for these dopamine release moment of the achievement. It's like creating a series of mini rewards for your brain, each one motivating you to take the next step. Let's say you have set yourself the challenge of running a marathon. That's a daunting goal, especially if you are not currently a runner. But if you break it down into small goals, running your first 5K, then a 10K, gradually increase your distance and endurance, you create a series of achievement milestones. Each time you reach one of these milestones, your brain rewards you with a hit of dopamine, reinforcing your motivation to continue. Now let's delve deeper into the role of striatum in the motivation and habit formation. The striatum is the part of brain that receives those dopamine signals we talk about later. It plays a crucial role in learning and habit formation. When you repeatedly engage in the behavior that lead to a reward, like that dopamine release, the striatums help to encode this behavior as a habit. And this is why consistency is so important when you are trying to build a new habit or tackle a challenging long-term goal. While dopamine is crucial, it is not the only factor. So let's look at how we can use this knowledge practically. At first, sitting down to write every day might feel like a chore. You might have to consciously remind yourself to do it, and it might feel effortful and unnatural. But if you stick with it, something interesting starts to happen. After a few weeks of the consistent practice, you might find that you start to crave your writing time. You feel a bit off if you do not get to write. This is your striatums at work having encoded the habit of daily writing. The challenging tasks that once required conscious effort has now become natural part of your life. This process does not just apply to creative pursuit. It can work for any challenging task you want to make regular part of your life. Maybe it's daily meditation, regular exercise, or studying a difficult subject. The key is consistency. By showing up day after day, you are not just making progress on your goal, you are literally rewiring your brain to crave that activity. But what about those when external reward or the promoting of habit formation isn't enough? This is where intrinsic motivation comes to play, and it's where the prefrontal cortex takes center stage. The prefrontal cortex is often described as a CEO of the brain. It is responsible for executive function like planning, decision making, and impulse control. But it also plays a crucial role in intrinsic motivation by helping us connect our action to our value and the long-term goal. Think about a time when you persevered through a difficult task, not because of any external reward, but because it was deeply important to you. Maybe you spent hours researching and writing a paper on the topic you were passionate about, or perhaps you put in the extra hours at work on the project you believed in, even though it wasn't part of your official duties. In this case, your prefrontal cortex is working overtime, constantly reminding you of why this task mattered to you. It's connecting your current action to your sense of self and your vision for the future. This is the essence of the intrinsic motivation, and it's incredibly powerful. To harnessing this power, try to connect challenging tasks to your personal value and long-term goals. To harnessing this power, try to connect challenging tasks to your personal values and long-term goals. For example, if you are struggling to motivate yourself to learn a new professional skill, don't just focus on the immediate benefit, like a potential rise or promotion. Instead, think about how this skill aligns with your career aspiration or your desire to make a meaningful impact in your field. There is another part of the brain called the hippocampus, known primarily for its role in memory formation, also play a significant part in the motivation, particularly when it comes to long-term goals. The hippocampus in your brain does not just help you remember past experiences, it also allows you to imagine the stimulate future scenarios. This ability to mentally time travel is crucial for maintaining motivation over extended periods. When you set a long-term goal, your hippocampus help you imagine what achieving what goal will be feel like. It allows you to draw on the past experiences to anticipate future rewards. Let's understand it with the example. If you have set a goal to start your own business, your hippocampus might help you imagine the sense of accomplishment and freedom you will feel when you finally open up your door. It might recall past experiences of the success or independence, using this memory to fuel your current motivation. To leverage this, try to vividly imagine your future success when you are working towards a challenging goal. The more details and emotionally resonant you can make this mentally image, the more motivating they will be. This is not just a daydreaming, it actively engaging your hippocampus to boost your motivation. Now let's talk about the role of the amygdala in motivation. Often associated with fear and other strong emotions, the amygdala actually play a crucial role in assigning emotional significance to all kinds of the stimuli and experiences. When it comes to motivation, the amygdala can be both a help and hindrance. One hand, it can amplify the emotional reward of achieving a goal, making the pursuit more motivating. On another hand, it can also magnify the feeling of fear or anxiety associated with challenging tasks. Think about public speaking, a task many people find challenging. For someone with a fear of public speaking, the amygdala might trigger an overwhelming stress response, making the task seem impossible. But for someone who has positive association with public speaking, perhaps they have had success in the past or they associated with the career advancement, and amygdala might enhance their motivation to seek out a speaking opportunity. The key is to work with your amygdala, not against it. One way to do this is through reframing. Instead of the viewing a challenging task as a threat, try to see it as an opportunity for growth. For example, if you are nervous about the giving a presentation at work, instead of focusing on all the things that could go wrong, try to view it as a chance to share your ideas and advance your career. Another powerful technique is exposure therapy. By gradually exposing yourself to the challenging task in a controlled, low stakes environment, you can help your amygdala form new, more positive associations. If public speaking is your challenge, you might start by presenting to a small group of supportive friends, then gradually work your way up to larger audience. Next brain part is anterior cingulate cortex, ACC. So ACC is another key player in motivation, particularly when it comes to effort-based decision. This part of your brain helps you weigh the cost and benefit of your action, allowing you to decide whether a challenging task is worth the effort. Imagine you are considering taking on a difficult project at work. It will require long hours and intense focus, but it could also lead to promotion. Your ACC is working hard in this scenario, helping you evaluate whether the potential reward is worth effort required. The ACC receives input from the both prefrontal cortex, that is brain rational planning center, and the limbic system, which is brain emotional center, allowing it to integrate both cognitive and emotional information in this decision. That's why effective decision making often involves both logical analysis and gut feeling. To work with your ACC and enhance your motivation for challenging tasks, try to clearly define both the cost and the benefit of tasks. Be honest with yourself about the effort required, but also be sure to fully appreciate the potential reward, both tangible and intangible. For example, if you are considering going back to school to earn an advanced degree, don't just think about the immediate cost like time and money. Consider the long-term benefit, increased earning potential, greater job satisfaction, personal growth, and the sense of accomplishment you will feel. By fully appreciating both sides of the equation, you can make more motivated decisions about tackling challenging tasks. There is another part of the brain is called insula. The region of brain gathered deep with the cerebral cortex play a fascinating role in our subjective experience of effort and fatigue. It processes interoceptive signals, internal body scenarios, and contribute to our sense of cognitive effort. Have you ever noticed how some plays a challenging task feel almost impossible, while on other days you can breeze through it? That's partly due to your insular interpretation of your internal state. Factors like sleep, nutrition, stress level, and overall health can all influence how your insula perceive and communicate efforts. Remarkably, research has shown that our perception of effort and fatigue is not always accurately aligned with our actual cognitive resource. This means that sometimes you might feel more tired or overwhelmed than you actually are. So, understanding this can be incredibly empowering. It means that when you are facing a challenging task and feeling overwhelmed, you might actually have more in tank than you realize. And this is where the concept of pushing through comes into the play. For example, let's say you are studying for a difficult exam. After a few hours, you start to feel mentally exhausted. Your insula is signaling that you are expending a lot of effort. But if you can push just a little bit further, you might find a second wind. This is because your actual cognitive resources might not deplete as they feel. To work with your insula and enhance your ability to tackle challenging tasks, focus on overall brain health. Ensure you are getting enough sleep, eating a balanced diet, exercising regularly, and managing stress. These factors can all influence how your insula interpret your internal state. Also, try to develop awareness of your subjective feeling of effort. Recognizing that feeling tired or overwhelmed doesn't necessarily mean you can't continue. Often, if you push through that initial resistance, you will find you have more resilience than you thought. Now that we understand the brain structure, let's look at the powerful state that can supercharge our motivation, the flow state. Have you ever been so immersed in a challenging task that you lost track of time? Maybe you were coding, playing chess, or even rock climbing. That is a flow state, and it's like a superpower of motivation. During a flow state, your brain exhibits a unique pattern of activity. There is an increased synchronization between the different brain regions, particularly between the prefrontal cortex and the reward system. At the same time, activity in the default mode network that is associated with mind wandering and the self-referential thoughts decreases. This leads to that characterized loss of self-consciousness, distorted the sense of that people often report during flow state. What is really interesting is the cocktail of neurochemical release during the flow. You got dopamine, which we have already discussed, but also norepinephrine, which enhance focus, endorphin, which can create a sense of euphoria, anandamide, often called bliss molecule, and serotonin, which is contribute to feeling of well-being. This neurochemical mix not only enhance performance but also create a sense of euphoria that can become, for lack of better word, addictive. And this is a good thing when we are talking about the craving hard thing. The more you experience flow while engaging in challenging tasks, the more your brain will crave those experiences. So, How can you induce flow state more often? Here are some strategies. Choose tasks that are just beyond your current skill level. They should be challenging enough to fully engage you, but not so difficult that they overwhelm you. Eliminate distraction. Flow requires deep focus, so create an environment that allows for this. Set clear goal for each work session. Having a specific objective helps direct your focus. Seek immediate feedback, whether it's from the task itself, like coding or playing music, or from the others. Quick feedback helps maintaining engagement. Find your peak hours. We all have time of the day when you are naturally more alert and focused. Try to schedule challenging tasks during these times. The more you can induce flow state while working on the challenging task, the more your brain will start crave those experiences. It's like creating a positive addiction to hard work. So if you would like to learn more about the mind state, you can watch this video where I had talked in the detail about 3 states of mindset. Let's talk about how stress can actually help in motivation and learning. While chronic uncontrolled stress can be detrimental to brain health and motivation, moderate acute stress can actually enhance learning and motivation. When you encounter a challenging but manageable stressor, your brain releases cortisol and norepinephrine in appropriate amount. These stress hormones can improve attention, enhance memory formation, and increase motivation. Think about a time when you had a tight but achievable deadline at work. The stress probably made you more focused and productive, right? That's these stress hormones at work. They are sharpening your cognitive function to help you meet the challenges. And that explains why a certain level of challenge or pressure can often boost our performance and engagement. It's not about the speaking out a stressful situation, but rather about the framing challenges in a way that create helpful, motivating stress rather than overwhelming and paralyzed stress. For example, if you are trying to learn a new skill, setting a specific time-bounded goal can create just enough stress to enhance your motivation and focus. Maybe you commit to giving a presentation on the topic in a month, or you sign up for the competition that will require to use the skill. This creates a manageable level of stress that can boost your learning and motivation. The key is the right balance. Too little stress, you might not feel motivated to push yourself. Too much stress and you risk burnout. Listen to the body and mind and try to find a sweet spot where you feel challenged and energized but not overwhelmed. So my friend, we have covered a lot about the active brain processes, but rest is equally important. So next is sleep. Sleep play a crucial role in consolidating the learning and maintaining healthy motivational circuit. During sleep, particularly during the slow wave sleep, your brain replay and strengthen neuronal pattern associated with recent learning experiences. Have you ever noticed how sometime after a good night's sleep, you are able to solve a problem that stumped you the day before? Or how a skill you were practicing seems a bit easier? That's the power of sleep-dependent memory consolidating at work. This process is not about the solidifying new skills and knowledge, but also the help to integrate them into existing neural network, potentially enhancing our motivation to further engage with related challenges. It's like your brain is connecting the dots while you are asleep, making the challenging task feel more manageable and rewarding. Additionally, sleep deprivation can disrupt the normal functioning of the prefrontal cortex and the dopamine system, and that lead to reduced motivation and impaired decision making. That's why it often feels too much harder to tackle challenging tasks when you are tired. To leverage the power of sleep for motivation, prioritize getting enough sleep. Enough quality sleep each night. This might mean adjusting your schedule or creating a more sleep-friendly environment. If you are working on a particular challenging task, try reviewing it right before bed. Your brain may continue to process it during sleeping. Consider power naps. Even a short nap can help consolidate learning and refresh your motivation. And remember, my friend, pushing yourself to work through the night might seem productive in the short term, but it's likely be a backfire in terms of both performance and motivation. So respect your brain need for the sleep and you will find the challenging task become more manageable. The brain reward predicting error system, primarily mediated by dopamine. This is not just about the immediate reward but also play a crucial role in long-term motivation and goal pursuit. When you set a goal, such as writing a book, your brain begins to map out the steps necessary to achieve that goal. And each time you complete a task related to your writing, whether it's drafting a chapter, editing a section, or even just brainstorming idea, your brain releases dopamine, enforcing the behavior and motivating you to keep going. This is the sense of the reward prediction error system at work. It is not just about the end goal, it's about the journey and the small win along the way. For example, imagine you are committed to write 500 words a day. Initially, it might be like a daunting task. However, as you start to write and hit that daily target, you experience a sense of accomplishment. Your brain recognizes this achievement and releases the dopamine, which makes you feel good and encourage you to repeat that behavior. And over time, this process builds a positive feedback loop where the act of writing becomes increasingly rewarding and you start to crave those writing sessions. The importance of the small win cannot be overrated. They serve as a stepping stone, making the larger goal feel more attainable. Research in psychology supports this notion, showing that celebrating small achievements can significantly boost the motivation. For example, if you finish a chapter, take a moment to acknowledge that success. Maybe treat yourself to a favorite snacks or take a break to do something you enjoy. This reinforces the behavior and makes you more likely to continue pursuing your writing goals. So my friend, now let's shift gear and discuss the role of social factor in motivation. Humans are inherently social creatures and our brain are wired to respond to social interaction. When we engage in the challenging tasks with others, we can leverage social dynamics to enhance our motivation. So consider the example of joining a writing group. Being part of a community where members share their progress, provide feedback, and celebrate each other's successes can significantly boost your motivation. The social support and accountability that come from such group can create a sense of belonging and shared purpose. Now let's talk about the beautiful concept called cognitive reverse, which refer to a brain resilience and its ability to adapt to new challenges. Engaging in the challenging cognitive tasks throughout life can help build cognitive reverse, protecting against the cognitive decline as you become older. This means that by consistently seeking out and embarrassing difficult tasks, we are not only enhancing our current motivation but also investing in our long-term cognitive health. For example, if you have always wanted to learn a new language, taking on that challenge can help build cognitive reverse. The process of learning something new stimulates various brain regions, promoting neuroplasticity, the brain ability to reorganize itself by forming new neuronal connections. This is not only enhance your cognitive ability but also makes your brain more adaptable to future challenges. So mindfulness and meditation practice are also one of the worth mentioning in the context of motivation. Research has shown that the regular mindfulness practice can lead to structural changes in the brain, particularly in the area associated with attention, emotion regulation, and self-awareness. And these changes can enhance your ability to stay focused on challenging tasks and manage the stress that often accompanies them. For example, if you are feeling overwhelmed by complex projects at work, taking a few minutes of practice mindfulness can help you regain your focus and clarity. By training your mind to be present and attentive, you can better navigate the challenges ahead, making it easier to tackle difficult tasks with a sense of calm and purpose. So as you continue to explore the neuroscience of motivation, it's essential to recognize that motivation is not a static state, but a dynamic process influenced by various factors. Our brain are constantly adapting and responding to our experiences, and understanding this fluidity can empowering us to take control of our motivation. One powerful way to enhance motivation is through the practice of self-compassion. When we encounter setback or challenges, it's easy to fall into the negative self-talk and self-criticism. However, research in psychology has shown that self-compassion can significantly improve our resilience and motivation. Imagine you are working on the challenging project and you hit a roadblock. Instead of criticizing yourself for not making progress, try to practicing self-compassion. Acknowledge that setbacks are a natural part of the learning process, that it's okay to struggle. By treating yourself with the kindness and understanding, you create a more supportive internal environment that raises motivation. So self-compassion also involves the recognizing that you are not alone in your struggle. Everyone faces challenges and setbacks at some point. By connecting with this shared human experience, we can cultivate a sense of belonging and reduce feeling of isolation, which can further enhance your motivation to tackle difficult tasks. Another important aspect of motivation is the concept of grit, that is determination, which refer to the combination of passion and perseverance for long-term goals. Research by psychologist Angela Duckworth has shown that the grit is a significant predictor of success, often more than talent or intelligence. To cultivate grit, focus on developing a growth mindset, the belief that your ability can be developed through dedication. To cultivate grit, focus on developing a growth mindset, the belief that your ability can develop through the dedication and hard work. Embrace challenges as opportunity for growth rather than obstacle to be avoided. For example, if you are struggling to learn a new skill, remind yourself that every effort you put in the step towards improvement. Additionally, reflect on your long-term goal and the reason behind them. What drives you to pursue this goal? Connecting your effort to a deeper sense of purpose can enhance your motivation and help you push through difficult times. For example, if you are struggling for a challenging exam, remind yourself that this effort is not just about passing, it's about building a foundation for your future career. Now, let's not forget the importance of rest and recovery in maintaining motivation. While it's essential to push ourselves to tackle challenging tasks, it's equally important to recognize when we need to take a step back. Burnout can quickly derail our motivation and productivity, and making it crucial to prioritize self-care. Burnout can quickly derail our motivation and productivity, making it crucial to prioritize self-care. So consider this: if you are working on a demanding project, schedule regular breaks to recharge. Taking time to rest and engage in the activity you enjoy can help prevent burnout and keep your motivation level high. Whether it's going for a walk, spending time with a loved one, or pursuing a hobby, these moments of the respite can resonate your mind and body, allowing you to return for your challenges with renewed energy. In conclusion, the neuroscience of motivation reveal a complex interplay of brain region, neurotransmitters, and psychological factors that influence our drive to take a challenging task. By understanding how our brain works, we can develop a strategy to enhance our motivation and cultivate a genuine craving for hard work. From leveraging the power of dopamine and the stratum to harnessing intrinsic motivation through the prefrontal cortex, we can create an environment that supports our goals. By breaking tasks into smaller steps, celebrating small wins, and connecting our effort to our values, we can reinforce our motivation and build lasting habits. Additionally, the role of social support, cognitive reverse, mindfulness, self-compassion, grit, and rest all contribute to our ability to tackle challenges effectively. By embracing these principles, we can train our brains to not only accept hard work but also actively seek it out. So, my friend, the next time you find yourself facing a difficult task, remember that you are the power to shape your motivation. Embrace the journey, celebrate your progress, and cultivate mindset that crave the challenges that lead to growth and achievement. Your brain is ready to rise to the occasion. All you have to do is engage it in the right way. So thank you for the watching and see you in the next video.